Would you rather be the world's greatest lover but have everyone think you're the worst? Or would you rather be the world's worst lover but have everyone think you're the greatest? Comment down below. I want to know your thoughts. In 1962, a young investor sat alone in his modest office in Omaha, staring at a letter that could either make or break his career. Outside his window stood the gleaming symbols of Wall Street excess, luxury cars, towering buildings, and the constant buzz of get-rich-quick schemes. But Warren Buffett was about to make a decision that would challenge everything the financial world held dear. Imagine being told that everything you're doing is wrong. Imagine watching your peers drive Ferraris while you drive a Volkswagen, seeing them dine at exclusive restaurants while you eat at local diners, hearing them boast about their Manhattan penthouses while you live in a modest home in Omaha. This wasn't just imagination for Warren Buffett. This was his daily reality in the 1960s, when Wall Street was experiencing its most glamorous era. But our story isn't just about money. It's about something far more valuable: the courage to be yourself in a world demanding you be someone else. Long before he became the Oracle of Omaha, young Warren was already showing signs of marching to his own beat. While other kids played baseball, he calculated the odds of baseball card collections. While teenagers spent their allowance on movies and milkshakes, Warren was buying his first stock at age 11. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. In high school, Warren struggled with an overwhelming need to be liked. He read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People front to back, desperate to crack the code of social acceptance. He practiced smiling in mirrors and memorized jokes, turning himself into what he thought others wanted him to be. Fast forward to the early 1960s. Warren had started his investment partnership, and the pressure to conform had never been greater. Wall Street was a temple of excess, where success was measured in status symbols and social climbing was an Olympic sport. Smoke-filled rooms where deals were made over martini lunches, where brokers bragged about their latest hot tips, and where following the crowd wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. This was the era of the Nifty 50 stocks, where certain companies were considered can't-lose investments, regardless of their price. The pressure on Warren came from all sides. Investors questioned his conservative approach. Why aren't you more aggressive? Everyone else is making a killing. Fellow fund managers mocked his location. You can't be a serious investor from Omaha. Move to New York like everyone else. Society pages commented on his lifestyle. Why does one of the richest men in finance live like a middle-class accountant? Even friends and family suggested he was missing out. Warren, you've got the money. Why not enjoy it like everyone else? But the real test came during the go-go years of the 1960s tech boom. The market was soaring, and everyone was jumping into any company with electronics or technology in its name. The pressure on Warren reached a fever pitch. One particular morning stands out. Warren received a call from a major investor threatening to pull out millions because you're too old-fashioned, too conservative, too afraid to embrace the future. That same afternoon, a prestigious Wall Street firm offered him a partnership that would make him even wealthier, but on one condition. He had to move to New York and play the game their way. This brings us back to that moment in 1962, where Warren sat in his office with that letter. But it wasn't just any letter. It was his annual letter to investors, and he was about to do something radical. In that letter, Warren did something unthinkable in the world of Wall Street. He told the absolute truth. He wrote, "I will not make investments in businesses I don't understand, regardless of how popular they might be. I will not move our operations to New York just because that's what's expected. And I will not change our investment philosophy to chase what's trendy." The response was immediate and brutal. Several major investors pulled out. The Wall Street Journal ran a piece suggesting Buffett was out of touch. A prominent analyst wrote that he was committing career suicide. But there's an interesting turn. During those difficult months, Warren faced his deepest fears about people-pleasing. In his personal diary, which he later shared, he wrote, "Every instinct I have, everything I learned about making people like me, is screaming to give in. But something stronger is telling me to stay true to what I know is right." He remembered a lesson from his mentor, Benjamin Graham. You're neither right nor wrong because others agree with you. You're right because your facts are right and your reasoning is right. But something remarkable started happening. While some investors left, new ones started coming. Investors who were tired of the Wall Street circus, who appreciated honesty and clear thinking. One new investor wrote, "Finally, someone who talks to us like adults instead of trying to dazzle us with fancy terms and false promises." More surprisingly, letters started arriving from young professionals across America. They weren't all investors, but they saw in Warren's stance something they were struggling with in their own lives: the courage to be authentic in a world pushing for conformity. Then came 1969. The tech bubble that everyone had been celebrating began to burst. Companies that had been Wall Street darlings started collapsing. The can't lose stocks lost. The guaranteed investments proved anything but guaranteed. And Berkshire Hathaway? Warren's honest, authentic approach had protected his investors from the crash. While others lost fortunes, his investors prospered. But the real victory wasn't just financial. This experience transformed Warren's view of people-pleasing entirely. He realized that trying to please everyone wasn't just exhausting. It was impossible. More importantly, it was dangerous. In business and in life, the need to be liked can cloud judgment and compromise integrity. From this period, Warren developed what he later called his inner scorecard versus the outer scorecard. He would often ask people, would you rather be the world's greatest lover but have everyone think you're the worst? Or would you rather be the world's worst lover but have everyone think you're the greatest? The question wasn't about romance. It was about whether you live your life by an internal set of values or by the ever-changing expectations of others. This philosophy would guide every major decision in his career, refusing to join the dot-com bubble of the 1990s and being vindicated again, living in the same modest house he bought in 1958, despite being one of the richest people in the world, speaking out against financial practices he believed were wrong, even when they were popular, maintaining his simple lifestyle despite criticism that he's too frugal for a billionaire. Today, in our social media age where likes, followers, and constant approval seem more important than ever, Warren's story carries special significance. We're all facing our own versions of that moment in his Omaha office, moments where we must choose between authenticity and approval. From Warren's journey, we can extract several powerful lessons about breaking free from people-pleasing. 1. The inner scorecard. Develop your own standards of success. Write down your core values and review them regularly. Ask yourself, would I make this decision if no one else would ever know about it? 2. The courage to be disliked. Accept that some people won't approve of your choices. Understand that criticism often says more about the critic than about you. Remember, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. 3. The power of authentic communication. Be honest about your principles, even when they're unpopular. Explain your reasoning clearly and without apology. Let your track record speak for itself. 4. Resist the trend. Don't chase fads or trends just because everyone else is doing it. Focus on long-term success rather than short-term gains. Ask yourself, will this decision still make sense years from now? 5. Trust the process. Success doesn't happen overnight, and neither does building a solid reputation. Stay patient and trust your judgment, even when things don't go your way immediately. Remind yourself that taking the high road often means taking the longer road, but the rewards are greater in the end. The pivotal moment in Warren's life wasn't just financial recovery, it was a personal breakthrough. He stopped worrying about being liked, about the headlines, and about what others expected of him. The only thing that mattered now was whether he could live with his decisions. One day, reflecting on his journey, Warren shared a simple piece of advice with his team. It's easy to follow the crowd, but the real challenge is standing firm when everyone else is rushing off a cliff. From that moment on, Warren committed himself to living by his inner scorecard, and everything changed. He embraced his role as an unconventional thinker and investor, knowing that his values would always guide him toward success, even if it meant swimming against the tide. Warren's principles began to resonate across industries. CEOs, politicians, and everyday individuals found themselves drawn to his message of self-reliance and authenticity. It wasn't just about business anymore, it was about life. At speaking events, young professionals lined up to ask him how they could apply the inner scorecard in their own lives. Entrepreneurs began building companies with Warren's philosophy at the heart of their business models, rejecting fast, empty success in favor of meaningful, lasting impact. Warren's story teaches us a fundamental truth. You don't need the world's approval to succeed. You need your own. If you can look in the mirror and be proud of your choices, whether others understand or not, that's the real measure of success. In a world full of noise, it's tempting to get lost in the opinions of others. But Warren Buffett's life proves that the greatest victories come when we stay true to our core, even in the face of doubt. And in the end, being authentic isn't just a path to success. It's the only path worth taking.